Ever wonder why some rivers are off limit for fishing activities, especially when it has a close tie with a deity? Well, this is the case of the OVIA River in Unuame community in Edo State, Nigeria. Let's talk a little bit about the history of this particular river. A quick story on how I got to know about this particular river. Back then when I was a student at the University of Benin, part of my field training activities was to go to the Okomu National Park, where I stayed for about a month and a half, learning about things pertaining to wildlife, forestry, and every other thing in between. Before getting there, we heard a lot of rumors from our past colleagues, our seniors, telling us about this particular water where people don't fish, people are not allowed to take, even if you see the fish big, even if the fish is bigger than any other fish you've ever seen before, you're not allowed to touch that fish, you're not allowed to fish from that river. And this got me asking a lot of questions. I had like 1,000 questions, but I didn't know who to ask at the end of the day. And that was how I got to know about this river called the OVIA River. And after my research, here's what I found out. So Ovia was said to be a very beautiful lady from Ume village, who through oral tales was said to have been sought out by many suitors, but she rejected all of them because she wanted to marry a king. That was her sole purpose. She wanted to be with a king. And not long, she got her wish. She was approached by the king of Oyo himself, who after a while, it was believed that the parents agreed to this union. And a couple of days after, Ovia was said to have left her community to go and be with her new husband, the king of Oyo. However, before leaving, her father gave her 3 different gifts to take along with her to her new home. The father was said to have given her a water pot, a parrot, and a dog. However, from the sources I was able to gather, the reasons for the parrot and dog are unknown. But the water pot came with an instruction that whenever she felt maltreated by her husband, she should come back home through the pot. And she pointed out that this particular period of time, especially in the Benin Kingdom, this period of time was filled with a lot of magical and mystical people. People that had a lot of power. And I'm talking about powers that nowadays you may call voodoo, juju, black magic, but these are people that had powers. And just like how many of these stories go, the king had a lot of wives. However, he brought in this beautiful lady from Ume to be his wife. She was so beautiful that she instantly became his favorite wife. Her hut was next to his hut in the palace, and this made all the other wives extremely jealous, which on a normal day is expected. So it was believed that one of the wives, out of jealousy and spite, connived with the other wives against Ovia. And what did they do? They one day planned to go to the farm to harvest some snails for cooking, whatever it is they use snails to do in those times. So they planned to go to the farm. Each of the wives had a bow, but they made sure Ovia didn't have a bow to harvest her snails from the farm. So on getting to the farm, each of the wives harvested all the snails into their bows, and Ovia didn't have a bow to harvest hers, so she used a part of her garment to harvest the snails. And this made her garment very slimy and dirty. And getting back to the palace, the other wives went on the whole rampage of, oh, she's cursed, she's this, look at how slimy her stuff is. And mind you, the rules that were governing how things happened back then is a lot more different from the rules of what's governing our thinking, our thoughts right now. And this was said to have gotten to her, which led her to, cry into her room. Where she was crying, it was said that her body was melting, and part of her body melted into this pot. And remember, this water pot was what her father gave her to teleport her back home in case if anything happens. Now here comes the interesting part. It was said that when this happened, her body melted. All the water that accumulated from the pot, the tears, and everything that melted from her body flowed back to her village, Ume, where she went to report to her father everything that has happened. And she told her father that what she has faced, she doesn't want any other woman to face this sort of disrespect or this sort of feeling ever. And this was actually a peaceful way of settling things. This was the reason why she was deified as the goddess of peace and providence. And up to today, there's a yearly festival called the OVIA Festival. It's believed that women are not allowed into her grove during this festival, either not during this festival, and I guess it has something to do with what she told her father. Yeah, that's the whole story of Ovia, the goddess of peace and providence, the patron of the Ovia River, popular Ovia River where you don't fish from in Edo State. Please, if you like this content and you want more content like this, kindly hit the like button, subscribe, and just a little way to show me encouragement to make more content like this and improve on my craft. I have a lot of stories to tell, and I have a lot of stories I will tell on this channel. Thank you so much.